Okay. Um, as a starting point, we have some raid plan stuff for everybody to look at. Um, this will just be reference points for where we're supposed to be in the fight. This kind of first slide gives you a good idea of what the first mindset will look like. So healers will be assigned to the first mindset, and they'll be taking the first, second, third, and fourth pops. The general idea for the fight is that for 90% of it, if you're walking in the room, the red side will be on the right, blue side will be on the left, and this will be continued throughout the fight. So just as an example, I'll show this real quick. Um, we walk in, we get our polarity, he transfers the wires behind us, and you get assigned a color. Red side moves over to the right side, and blue side moves to the left. We have bombs coming out, and that's just how we set up the fight generally. We are going to be using liquid Weakauras for this. I linked them all in the Weakaura channel. You need all three. Raid Anchors is a really good tool to like use just to move your stuff around, so we don't have to like always move it between fights. It'll move everything to where you want it for each fight, which is super useful. We're probably going to be using liquid going forward. Um, Other weak auras, I don't think there's anything as of right now that we need. But the raid plans I will have posted in the raid plan channel just so people have the reference point. Um, and then a few like key things that I want to go over before I start talking about what the fight actually looks like is the left and right side. Obviously, that's very important. Mines will have colors and numbers. In this picture, we can see that there are numbers here on all of their healers. We get the healers out of the way early, so you guys have the easiest time and you can focus on whatever needs to be focused on. In the raid plan, we see that 1 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here, 4 is here. The fight assigns even numbers of everything, so there will be 1 blue tank, 1 red tank, 2 red healers, 2 blue healers. And that'll make everyone's life pretty easy to get the pops off at the beginning of each phase. It really simplifies the mechanic. So when the mines come down here, we're gonna see the colors. They come out in like 3 seconds. Colors come out. So we have a blue mine here that needs to be soaked by a blue healer. It's extremely, extremely, extremely important that the red and blue players in general, as a melee, you're stacked with the rest of the blue players, and same for red. And as a ranged, you are playing directly behind them to bait drills. But it's always the case that we need to be tightly stacked, so these people that are coming to the opposite sides, the people who are popping the bombs, will be able to do it stress free without having any chance of running into anyone. So we see a red player come over, they're waiting for their pop. A blue player pop their first blue. There's a blue player over here which is a healer. They're over there ready to pop theirs. Red pops. Then we're gonna get a blue pop. He runs over, a little priesty boy or a little monk or whatever, and then the fourth pop is ready to go. Boom. So this is what it's gonna look like for just the first set. In this area of the room, we're not gonna have a lot of sets where the 4 are that easy. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just the first set, but it gives us a good idea of what it's gonna look like. So after the polarity, after the first mindset, we're gonna get a little bit of a beam set, and we can see behind us drills had just come out. This is gonna be consistent for pretty much the whole fight. There's a few times where we pick different spots, but we see that the ranged players that I pointed out, they're playing on the back sides. These ranged players are waiting off in the wings, and they're dropping the drills on the outside. You can almost just, if the conveyor belts are going, you can just stand there and let it pull you down. you don't even have to move. So on this one, the conveyor belt's going down, so you just stand there and it takes you and it baits it perfectly. Another thing to note is that when you get selected for drills, for the next 90 seconds, you cannot be selected again. So if you were selected once within the first minute of the fight, by the first set, the next two you will not get selected for. So we're getting beams here. Beams are going to come out. We will have a strict like boss position timing for each place. We don't want to be here with the boss because we have a move coming after, or we're going to go here. But we want to make sure that we're in the right spot so we can move. Following the beams, we're getting drills and then mines. Right after these mines, so this one is the same thing. Like we have 4 close ones, very easy. This will be a melee set. I don't know what happened to his assignment here, but yeah, this is a melee set. There will be 6 assigned melees. I can kind of show who's going to be assigned when. So for this set, the first set, it's obviously just all the healers. And then we're going to have our 6 assigned melees. It's not always going to pick everybody, but this is the order. I have Kim, Hog, Gertz, and Myth doing my first 4 on this side. It's always going to pick you guys. And then following, because of the priority here, the 2 melee that are going to get selected for the next set will most likely be you guys. And then we'll have these 3 doing the 3rd set of pops, which we'll talk about in a second. So we get our mindset. We make our move from the last beam. We get our mindset. We're getting drills after these mines. We do the mines quickly. They're not too complicated. Drills coming out. So ranged, you guys would be on the... This is like an example of something not to do. There's a mage, or there's someone in here, a ranged player right there, that didn't realize they were going to get drills until they had the drill thing on their head, and that can easily fuck everyone. So as a ranged player, it's your job to make sure that you are not in the stack and that you're outside, so that when the drills do come out, you don't make a mistake because you already pre-positioned, so no mistake can be made. That drill set's pretty important because after that drill, we get a beam. And this is the same in P2. This is the same. There's 2 times in P2. Because right now it looks easy. These beams are just the red regular baby beams, but after, those beams will be giant, so we'll have like this much room instead of what we have right now. And what needs to happen is the ranged are here, you bait 1, or let me paint the picture with them there. So drills are always going to be on like a 3 count. So we bait 1, we move, we bait 2, and then we step forward. So these players, after this bait, should be walking forward and baiting here and then getting into the group. And they bait all the way down, which is, they're going to have to either use movement in the future because the cadence is faster, or they will die. So we want to bait 1, 2, step forward and get in. Just be extra careful about it. Beams are always going to be paired with rockets. In this case, not a big deal. Later on, we're going to be doing something about it. Polarity swap happens immediately after this. We get our polarity. Polarity is just when you swap colors. You need to pay very close attention to what color you are. Here they all swap. Super easy. And then we have our 3rd beam set, or our 3rd bomb set, sorry. We can see the 2 bombs here. There's 1 bomb, 2 bomb. This is a red. Looks like their red player is the warrior in here. But there are also 2 bombs we can see up top here. This is something that we can all turn on in the liquid pack. There's 2 bombs all the way at the top. And these bombs are assigned to players with movement. So for our raid, this is going to be Guido and Dare. And Dragon, you're the 3rd, because you have the biggest, or the best movement to get out for it. What you guys need to do is cross early if you're red, so we can see the mage is already out there. Dragon is following. I think the mage here is probably red. and he gets out immediately. Dragon pops, and then there's a mage back there waiting to pop his. Now we pop 3, and we pop 4. This set is the hardest in P1 because the time is very tight. So we have to be ready. After that beam set, after the drill bait, the beam set, we get our third set of mines in P1. On the third set of mines in P1, which we can see what the difference is between 1, 2, and 3, where these ones are split as opposed to being like right here, which they were for the first 2 sets in P1. We need to be extremely prepared for Dare and Guido and Dragon to get out there. So if you guys want to pre-position immediately after this beam set finishes, like, you can start moving now. Just dodge the rockets and get the fuck out there. That's the best thing you can do to make sure that those are ready. And then we have to instantly get back, because once these mines are done, we're getting our beams again, and we don't want to be caught out with beams. So we get back. These rockets can be soaked by a person with the defensive. They don't hurt super bad. They used to hurt worse, but it's usually not good to soak it raw. And yeah, so we get our beam set. You guys who popped before, the range, Dare, Guido, Dragon, get the fuck back in. And then we have our little intermission knock thing. So the way that this intermission knock is going to work is that red is taking a gate, we get polarity first, my bad. We get polarity first, we're swapping. Blues, red swap. Blues are on the outside, red is on the inside. Blue is positioning for the knockback. This should never happen, by the way. This dragon here doesn't move and almost causes a wipe, because if these 2 get knocked back, they insta-die and it's a reset. So you need to be on top of this. This is a shift. So you're, as a red player here, your kind of point that you want to stand at is that gate. There's a gate that Chan will place down so kindly, and we'll all be stacked near the gate, ready to immune the knockback. Blue players will be, well, not all of us, red players will all be stacked near the gate. Blue players will be ready to get knocked into position. This is something that I know Tactics mentioned and Dratnos mentioned, but this is for sure going to cause a wipe or 2. I'd like to mitigate the amount of problems we have with it. My blue melee need to be extremely on top of their movement here. You guys can't drift down. One person being too far here, it's really fuzzy, but one person pushing everybody else down is really fucking bad. You guys need to be extremely on top of your movement. And then blue range, you guys are playing on the middle. So as we get knocked, I'll kind of show it. Melee can position more at an angle, like this angle, whereas range can kind of get knocked straight this direction. We'll see what that looks like here. So blue melee, get further left, and range, you can go to the right. So if you're a melee here, you can just, if you're a warrior, you can leap, rogue, shadow step, vor, varbs. You guys can set up transcendence here earlier in the fight, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you get out of the way quickly and you're pushed all the way to the back. That's it for the intermission. Super easy. After the intermission ends, we are going to assume the original position. We get our polarity. We make sure we're on the correct sides. Boss movement is a little bit slow, but it gets centered between skull and X. Here we have a far set and a close set. This far set is going to be taken care of by 2 opposite colored ranged, and they're going first. So the 2 opposite colored ranged need to walk out and make sure that you're not stepping on each other's toes. Usually the best way to handle this is to follow your outside cut and your inside. So if this set, let's double check. This is for, where am I? Oh, I'm here. 4 ranged, or 5 ranged. So Dare, I have to double check this. I will make sure that this is correct, but Dare, Guido, Jolly, Spooby, and Dragon, you guys can all get assigned to this one. The best way to handle it is for each of you, if you're red, you follow the outside of the room and you walk on like this line. And then if you're blue, you just can take the conveyor belt down, you can walk down. Super simple, but don't cross. Just don't step on each other's toes. Make it easy. So they pop the far ones first. And then this is a very important thing. If you are not one of the people who can be selected or who is selected for this bomb set, you are getting drills here as a ranged player. Ranged players include healers also. So if you are not selected, you are coming out to these corners here. You're playing right here to get out of the way of all of the bombs, out of the way of the bombs over here, and you're making sure that drills are baited. And if you are selected, you're coming onto the conveyor belt and you're stepping down and baiting proper. We're going to see it happen here. Drills come out. All the players that are available for drill baits, and it got fucked up. Somebody came out late, like we saw the first time. This person came out late because they forgot, and then they end up baiting like a little bit further ahead. It doesn't kill anybody, obviously, but we want to avoid that happening. We want our range to always be out when drill baits are coming out and be ready to move at the right time. So we get our drill baits. We're getting our beams here. This is an easy beam set, not much going on. Not a ton of damage or anything. There's no rockets, so we're just chilling. Then we have a big move. We're going all the way down to skull or moon and square. We don't have a polarity swap for another few seconds, but we have drills here. So drills, same thing. Ranged are on the Dorky's in a really good spot here. Red ranged are in a really good spot here, and you see that there's less people stacked up now because there are less targets for those drills. And we'll have a Weakora that shows that you can be targeted for drills. What the fuck? So they bait the drills. They do a great job. Then we have some mines coming out after this beam set. But this drill plus beam set is like a continuing thing throughout the fight. You want to make sure that you're in the raid after your drills. You spawn 3 of them and you get in. Super simple. Not a lot of damage here. Easy beam set. As long as our tanks know where to put the boss, we should be okay. We get a polarity swap. This polarity swap is the most complicated in the fight. And then we have an easy as fuck mindset here. So our polarity swap, the way that this is going to work. Hold on. Let me pull up my notes so I don't talk out of my booty. Okay, cool. So blue players are going to cross. They're going to get to blue side first, and they're going to wait there. Red players are going to wait, and the boss may follow, it may not, depending on what color the tank is at the time. But red players are going to follow after a 3 count. So you're going to count to 3, and then you can follow. The reason we do this is because on this timer, we just had drills. We just have a party pack, which is the tank mechanic that's outside. The tank is coming back in. We don't know which color he is. We're making sure that nobody gets knocked. There's no problems. While blue is moving, it's extremely, extremely important that you avoid this gate. This gate, the tank can use, depending on who's selected, the tank can use from here to get back in quicker and taunt faster. And they may be red, they may be blue, we don't know. So we're just waiting and we're avoiding the gate. Boss will come back. Everything's easy again. No problems. Mines are up. We're taking care of the mines. They're all super easy. They're super fucking close. No big deal. So this movement, again, to reiterate, is blue side moves, blue side waits, red waits to cross until blue side is in their spot, and then red follows. And then we all stack up, and we're good. We do mines, and then we have drills. This drill set is the most difficult in the fight. This is like the worst overlap. Drills need to be ready on the opposite side. So if you're blue, you're playing here. If you're red, you're playing here. You bait your drills, and then we have a super, super tight beam set. Bait, and beams. Super tight. But they did their bait proper, so they did 1, 2, and then mines. Something to think about here is pressing a personal, making sure that you're not getting completely obliterated. We have our suck plus the beams plus the rockets. We're going to be using immunities here to try and trivialize the rockets, so we're not dealing with a ton of it. And then we have a wire transfer on the other side. After this, all we're going to do is just a polarity and then a knock for the intermission. That's pretty much the fight. This polarity is a little bit different. We are getting knocked to the other side, so it's not the exact same thing. Blue is going to be the ones that are waiting, or that are gating. Sorry, not waiting. Red's going to be getting knocked, so red will be using the inside of the room, and you'll be crossing over, and then blue, you guys will be using the outside of the room, and it's the same thing in intermission. But Chan will be placing another gate here to the opposite side. Make sure Chan has time to place the gate. Then we get knocked. We stand there for a second. And at around this point, once we get this polarity, the boss should be dead. We'll go over this a bit more, but this is already a 20-minute video. We'll talk about it when we get there. This is not that complicated. We just do 2 mindsets and the boss dies. Cool. That's it.